Anik Singal lost it all. Hello, my friend, and welcome to the Sales Podcast. I'm Wes Schaefer, the Sales Whisperer, your host, who is still sick 8 days later. It just ain't right. I don't know what's going on. Actually, I do know what's going on, and do not let the government take over health care, all right? As a veteran, they gave me a disability rating, so I get to see the local guys, and they don't answer their phone. They don't return calls. My annual physical is 2 years in the making. So, you get sick, they don't return your calls, they can maybe see you in a week. It's like, dude, I'll either die or be better in a week. But I digress. You know what I'm saying? We are in for a treat today. You're in for a treat again because I'll keep this short and sweet. But Anik, I know him virtually, and he is a rags to riches, back to rags, back to even bigger riches story. A really good dude, no hype, and like most people that I interview, they try to keep their story simple. I made some money, lost some money, built it back. But we peel this thing back. I want to know the steps that they took, and he was very open about it. So you're in for a treat. More people are signing up for the Make Every Sale program. It's been fun seeing folks come on board. You have a 12-payment option. I am answering more questions. If I'm in between calls, if I don't have anything going on, I'm hanging out in that group helping people. So if you want private consulting, right now it's $2,500 a month for 90 days. Somebody asked, what would I charge for 30 minutes? It's like, I don't do it. I don't do these one-offs. They don't help you. They don't help me. So you've got to stick with some, kind of like going to the gym. Hey, how much to train me for 30 minutes? I don't know any gym, any trainer. I guess some would. If you had something specific, right? Like, I need a better form on my squat or something. Maybe they would train you. But if you got bad form in your squat, it's probably bad forms in other things. But maybe it's not because of the form. Maybe it's an injury. Maybe it's lack of flexibility. There's always deeper and deeper layers. I get into that in the sales training, in the Make Every Sale community, talking about getting 3 levels deep. Our prospects, they'll reply with their typical script. Hey, how you doing? Oh, I'm good. No, really, how you doing? Well, things could be better. No, really, how are you doing? Oh, man, it's terrible. My wife's leaving me. I'm down to $600 in my business. I don't know what I'm going to do. Blah, blah, blah. Okay, you got to stick with it and get deeper. That's why I don't do these little 30-minute, one-off deals. They don't help anybody. That's why I don't lead with big, fancy, 1 and 2 day workshops. I may do those from time to time as a precursor to the ongoing training. And, and it's not a bait and switch, right? It's like, oh, you're just getting this in this daily program or this one-day seminar just to sell us on the big one. Yes, I am, because you need the big one. You need the recurring reinforcement. When I get done with this recording, I'm going to jiu-jitsu. You got to go multiple days a week. They say to have any growth, you got to go at least 3 days a week for 90 minutes. Okay, now I learned the hard way. If you go 6 days a week at age 48, and you go 6 days a week for 2 months, you get really sore in the legs. And I've had to slow down my rolls. Slow your roll. But you know what? I'd rather somebody be ambitious and bold and getting after it than timid. So, again, when I do a 1 day workshop, it can light a fire. Okay, it can, for a very small percentage of people, it'll change the course of their lives and how they get after sales. But without the constant reinforcement, you forget. In jiu-jitsu is just like sales, just like life. There's so many aspects and components, and we'll learn a new move, and I'll literally forget it by the end of the day because I'm thinking of 12 other moves that I may be struggling with. And so if it's something that complements my game, I remember it, and I go back, and I'll stay later and drill it. I'll go the next day. I've got buddies that'll show me, and we'll drill extra. And even then, you got to get after it. I get after it with young guys Old guys, tall guys, short guys, fat guys, skinny guys, dudes with great cardio, dudes super strong, because different moves work differently. How are you doing this in your business? How are you hitting it from many different angles? And the things that worked, 2 years ago, I guarantee you probably aren't working now, or certainly not as well. Even McDonald's, I just read, is changing their Happy Meal, right? They put it on their dollar value meal, whatever, for $3. Now they're taking it off and they're raising the price like 25%. So even big old McDonald's makes changes. I think it was Jack Welch, former CEO of GE, that said, if the change outside is greater than the change within, then the end is near. So keep the end far away when you join the Make Every Sale group. MakeEverySale.com. Come join us. There's a 12 payment option if cash is a little tight, and you have a 1-year money-back guarantee. I don't know how else to make this easy for you to make every sale. So come join us, won't you? Now let's bring on our guest. Anik Singal, top 3 of the best U.S. entrepreneurs under 25. You better be glad I'm like way over 25, man. Otherwise, we'd like have to arm wrestle or something, man. So welcome to the Sales Podcast. How the heck are you?
I'm doing good, man. Thank you for having me here. And a little secret between you and I, I'm way over 25 now too, so I should probably stop using that credibility booster at this point.
Well, back in the day, you got it. So, hey, I still have listed, like, I was like the 6th place in my science fair in 7th grade. So, I mean, we got to use what we got.
We use what we got. Exactly. If it's working, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. So
So you've done a lot of things. Just came out with a new book, Escape, the 4 stages of becoming a successful entrepreneur. Very nice there. You're kind of sort of like the modern day Napoleon Hill, huh? You've studied dozens of millionaires and billionaires. So Tony Robbins, Mark Cuban, Daymond John. So what the heck, man? How'd you end up on this journey? And then the bigger question is, how did you make a success out of it? Because a lot of us start out on a journey.
Yeah.
Usually, very few people reach the levels you've reached. So what's the secret to your success, man?
All right. Well, so 2 separate questions, right? And they're both connected in a way. One is, who the heck am I? How did I get here? And, how did I make a success out of it? And the second question is, how did I land up on the journey to write this book, Escape? Because that's its own story. So I started with the whole notion of wanting to be an entrepreneur in college. Literally, I was sitting in my dorm room. I had $100. I wanted a Super Bowl game because I predicted the right score. So I'm sitting, this is all the money I have. And I am tired of classes. Like, I just wasn't resonating anymore with the idea of going and learning theory all the time and then coming back and sitting around being told to wait so that, in 2-3 years I can make some money. And so I start looking around for possibilities and ways to do it. And I've used Google. Okay. Google was just starting back then. So this ages me in my internet.
Whatever, dude. You're young. We didn't even have the internet when I was in college. So zip it. The world of the internet. But yeah, there you go. Google would just start. And so I look at Google. Google takes me to a couple of places. I find this world of online marketing, digital publishing. I don't know. It sounded awesome, right? But 18 months of struggle. I try. I'm hustling. There was no lack of hustle on my part whatsoever, but I couldn't make it work. So I was just about to quit. All of a sudden, someone comes onto the forum, helps me out, says they're going to help me for a day. And next thing I know, I had my first night. I made some money. That climbed. I escalated. I graduated. I never got a job. I took my company straight from that $100 I had up to 10 million plus a year, on top of the world, living like a king. I was young. I was growing. Everything I touched turned to gold. So as far as I knew, it was awesome. That was how life was. That's just like norm now. Except 2008 comes around and everything crashes, and I don't know what the heck to do. I'm a first-time CEO, first-time entrepreneur. So I thought, have a problem? Throw more money at it. Obviously that's the solution. Hire more people, build more offices. And all of a sudden, all the good days start to turn bad real quick. Next thing I know, I found myself $1.7 million in debt, and I'm 27 years old. It was one of the worst times of my entire life. Everything fell apart around me. I started drinking. I started ending up at the hospital every few months with major internal bleeding. My relationship started to fall apart. My parents had to mortgage their home again. They spent their whole life paying it off. They mortgaged their home again just to help me out, pay my bills.
So I was really like deep in the water. My attorneys are all saying declare bankruptcy, and I owed money to all my friends, to family. I was like, I'm not going to declare bankruptcy. So I really went back to the basics. One night I pulled the plug. I shut down all my offices. I went from 96 employees to 6, and I was like, that's it. Go back to the basics of how I climbed from $100 to 10 million. What did I do? And then that was journey number 1, really, was major discovery during that time where I realized it was me. It wasn't the economy. It was me. I started making decisions that created my reality, which I was living in. So long story short, I made some decisions. I really discovered the true why of I wanted to be an entrepreneur. I made some big shifts, which people would say were risky, but at the time I knew it was exactly what I needed to do. And within 16 months from the day that I went from 96 to 6 employees, I find myself paying back every penny of that debt. I'm $1.7 million. I paid it back. I'm back to the top. I'm rising again. Until this day, it's been nothing but every year major growth. Well, in the part of that and parcel of that growth starts journey number 2, which led to this book. And journey number 2 was 3 years ago. So I'm way out of debt. I'm good. My business is scaling. And this one individual is so insistent to get personal coaching from me. They want to fly down. They want to spend time with me. I don't usually do that. So I threw a ridiculous number back at them. It's going to cost you X amount of thousands of dollars. And they said, okay. But crap, now I'm really into this. Okay, so they came down, spent like about 4 days with me. I thought this person was going to crush it. I was so convinced that this person is going to be amazing. And I was vested into them now, even emotionally. I was like, I really want to see those students succeed. They're going to be huge. At the same time, I remember this. I distinctly remember right at the same time I'm working with this student, who after they left working with me and 4 days with me, I still kept coaching them and mentoring them because I really thought that much about their success. I had another student on a forum, on one of our Facebook groups, not a forum, online that had just bought a product for like maybe $500 or something. And they were asking a lot of questions. And sometimes I would read their questions and be like, man, that poor soul is not going to make it. Like anyways, long story short, a few months later, the person who had paid me all the money to get coaching and that I kept coaching, same place, dead water, treading water, same place in their own way. This other student who I had counted against quit their job, was doing great, was just climbing. And that, you would think I'd be really proud and really excited, but that actually led to a very depressive moment for me because I realized that after having taught, at that time, maybe like 200,000 students, after having been in business for so long, I still couldn't accurately predict or know why I didn't have 100% success rate with my students. But why were some crushing it and others were struggling, no matter how hard they worked or how smart they were? That was what led me to the journey that wrote this book because I wanted to figure the answer out. So first thing I did is I analyzed my own life. I looked at my own entrepreneurial journey. I started talking to our students, not just the ones that succeeded, but the ones that failed. I talked a lot with them too. And then I started interviewing. I mean, I was fortunate enough to have access to people like Robert Kiyosaki, Les Brown, Bob Proctor. Eventually I met Daymond John. I had emails back and forth with Mark Cuban. I had lunch with Warren Buffett. And I started asking these people, what is it that really gets to the core? And I never expected an answer. I never thought I would actually see a pattern because I thought everyone's so different. I'm talking to people in different industries. But sure enough, I started to see common characteristics and behaviors, and there's about 20 of them that I was able to map. Now, not everybody had all 20, but these are the 20 that came up the most. So if we were going to be like the Superman of entrepreneurship, you'd have all 20 of them. Even I don't have them until this day, and that was when I really started to write this book. This book took me a couple of years. This was my third writing of the book. I threw the first 2 out because I wanted to be able to capture these and connect them to my story and to the stories of other entrepreneurs, to be able to basically depict and bring out the 20 characteristics that I think it takes at this point to succeed as an entrepreneur in today's age.
All right, let's go back. Very few people build a $10 million business with 96 employees.
Yep.
What was that business?
So it was very similar to my business today. We sell education. We sell information on the internet. Back then, we were teaching things like pay-per-click marketing, search engine optimization. We were teaching affiliate marketing, list building. And the way we were able to build that business up was actually only one thing, and that was the same reason we fell apart, is that most of our traffic came from partners and other people who owned email lists or had influence, so influencers. So we would do 2, maybe 3 product launches per year. So I'd come up with a product, come up with a new idea, new teaching, maybe I'd partner with someone who was the content expert, and we would roll it out to the entire market. And at one period and one time, we'd get everybody to promote it. We'd have everybody coming in and promoting it hard. And, we'd make a few $1,000,000 really during that time. And then we'd go dead in the water for a couple of months, right? Just kind of delivering the product, and we'd do another product launch. Well, what happened is that worked like a charm for years until 2008 happened, and everyone's businesses start to fall apart. So all the people who are our biggest partners and our biggest source of leads and revenue, their businesses fall apart. So as their businesses fall apart, their ability to influence our business falls apart. And so that was what led to our crash. So when I came back the next time, I took full ownership over it. I said, I'm no longer going to quote unquote outsource the biggest part of my business to other people. I'm going to keep control over that part. But that was how I built it up. I had a great product, great information. We built some funnels on the internet, and then I got a bunch of influencers to start promoting it. Next thing we knew, we were making millions.
Well, growing through affiliates, I mean, that's not a bad thing.
Not at all.
We're going to publish right after you. We're going to publish. Have you heard of a guy named Dush?
Yes,
Ramachandran. Mm-hmm. Right. I mean, he and his wife, grew tremendously through affiliate marketing.
Yep.
So, what was the crash just too big? I mean, it just took too many people down too quickly to diversify.
Exactly. Nothing wrong with affiliates at all. I want to get something straight. So we just did a big product launch on this book right here. We sold 25,000 copies in the span of just 3 weeks. Thanks all to affiliates. Thanks all to influencers and promoters who promoted this book. So we love it. We still do 1 to 2 launches a year. We still love our affiliates. We have thousands of them in our system. The problem was that we were fully 100% reliant on them. We didn't have our own sources of traffic, our own sources and ways of getting things in. So we had absolutely no insurance policy, and we had mastered the game of affiliates. So we understood that game very well. But if the market changed, the economy changed, if anything changed, which it did and which it always will, we weren't prepared to be able to address that change. So that was where the problem lay. But absolutely, one of our core products right now, we teach people how to build an email list and monetize it by being affiliates for other products. So affiliate marketing is a huge part of my life and what we do. But, building an entire business and having an expense structure of 96 employees where all of your revenue is controlled by external people and factors that you don't have direct influence over, that was what led to our collapse. And yes, you're right. It was just that big. Everybody just went down, and it was a domino effect. One person goes down, they decrease the entire industry's ability to promote another person, and then it just spiraled out of control, and the whole industry melted away.
So how do you know when and how to diversify? Right, because I'm listening to you, you're doing $10 million. Let's say somebody listening to this is doing $1 million. Maybe they're small. They got a couple of employees, a couple of contractors, and they're doing their first $500,000 year. Yep. But it's they're growing, right? They went from 100 grand, boom, all of a sudden they're doing 500 grand. They're thinking, man, life is getting good. I can see $1 million. It's coming.
Yeah.
And maybe they're maybe they're focused, right? They're McDonald's, right? We're going to make hamburgers, cheeseburgers, French fries, Coke, and a malt.
Yep.
Right? How do you know when to add a hot apple pie, add a salad, bring in chicken McNuggets, because maybe you should have diversified at $1 million or 2 or 5 or 8 or 9 or 9.5 million. You should have diversified, but it's like, I don't know. It seemed like you were on a good path.
Sure. That's a great question. So there's 2 areas we talk about diversification. So you're talking about one of them, which is your product line. And I actually firmly believe that you don't need to diversify your product line to grow and scale a business. You can very much so just be the person that sells hamburgers, and you're the best at it, and you just sell them better and better, and you reshape them in different shapes, and you have a quarter pounder, you have a Big Mac, and you keep selling hamburgers. But the way to decide when and how and if you need to diversify your product line is through demand and through what your market wants. That's the only way to ever diversify, is to know if you are getting a bunch of people in the door that like hamburgers, that are buying hamburgers, and you're hearing from your customers that they have to bring in their own sodas and water to drink it down with, then it's time to use sold soda. And then if you're hearing from your own customers that they have to go cross the street to get ice cream because they want a dessert after their meal, it's time to start selling ice cream. It's time to start selling things that your existing consumers would want. But that's how you scale a business. And a lot of times that is not even a discussion point until you've hit your first 7 figures or multiple 7 figures, because you need a large enough audience pool to even have accurate data on what else they're looking for. The second thing that you need to diversify on is where I was focusing on, and that is your source of income, your source of leads, your source of sales. And even there, you may not need to diversify up and until the point your expense structure starts to become scary. So if you start to hire employees, build offices, and now you have a standard set expense, that means whether you make money or not, that much money is going to go out every single month. That's when risk starts to get introduced to the equation. And when risk gets introduced into the equation is when you have to start analyzing your incoming sources. And so at that point, you ask yourself a single question. At any point in my business, at any place in my business, do I have a single point of failure? Do I have a single point where if this one point went this way, my entire business could collapse? And that is exactly where you have to focus in. You don't have to necessarily even diversify as much as you have to have plan B, C, and D. So you don't have to put it into action, but you have to know that had you had to call it into action, you would be able to. But that topic doesn't come up until the point you have risk in a business, and risk is never there really until your expenses come in. So usually that'll mean your first $500,000 or your million, first couple million, you don't have that much risk, so you can avoid that discussion.
Okay, so you're 25, 26, 27 years old, doing $7, $8, $9, $10 million. I'm sure there was some gray-haired individual saying, Anik, you might need to diversify. Anik, trees don't grow to the sky. Anik, you haven't had any tough times yet. There's a hard rain coming. And I'm sure you were probably saying, you old school dude, you're still stuck in the 80s. You probably have a Yellow Pages ad. You haven't caught up with the new economy. This is how things are done. And then it crashes. And you're like, oh, hell, I should have listened. How, I don't know. I don't see any gray hair on you yet. I got gray hair. How do we get the next Anik to listen before they skin their own knees?
So it's almost like you knew me back then. This Anik, right? I call him Anik. Like at this point, I'm like on 7.0.
Anik 7.0, all right.
But by the time I was at 2.0, guess one of the biggest changes I made in my life was I listened. So many people say, God, I wish I had a coach. I wish I had a mentor. Bob Proctor said this one thing once that completely changed my way of looking at like mentorship and coaches. He said, people want to be coached, but they want to tell their coach how to coach them. And I thought, that's so true, right? So I did. I had gray hair at the time. I had people I loved and trusted who had helped shepherd me up until the point I was there. And one of the biggest voices in my head was my mentor telling me, Anik, cut back on expenses now. Lay off. Cut your staff by 20. Shut down an office. And I was thinking that is defeat. I thought that is ridiculous. That's embarrassing. I am Anik Singal. I can do anything I want. I will conquer this. You don't know. You're not me. You're not as good as me. These are the thought processes going through my head until I got my butt smacked by the whole industry and by the whole market. So now I understand, if I'm not going to listen to someone, or if I don't have enough trust or faith in someone to listen to them, then they're not my mentor. Then don't let them coach me. But if I'm going to give someone the status of coach or mentor, listen to what the heck they have to say, because they're there for a reason. They certainly don't want to hurt me. And at this point, I'm a lot more analytical. I was definitely, sorry about that. I was much more, that was Skype. I apologize about that. I was much more emotion driven when I first started as an entrepreneur. I am now far more logical. I literally look at things and I analyze them. I want data. Any decision I make, give me the data. Where's the data? What's pointing me in that direction? And data, numbers don't lie. Math talks. And so I always tell my team here, and one of my biggest mantras I walk around is I say, data talks, emotions walk. And so lately, that's how I'm a logical person, and it's kept me out of a lot of really risky projects and a lot of fire.
Yeah, it's tough though, huh? I mean,
it is.
I feel like by and large, a typical entrepreneur has to get punched in the nose a couple of times before they listen.
Absolutely.
I mean,
absolutely. The best ones usually do. Yeah. there's a little bit of that. I don't want to use the word arrogance because I feel like that carries a negative connotation, but there's that confidence. There's a little bit of that confidence and that aggression and that like unwavering faith in oneself and ability to do something. That's an innate part of becoming or doing something or being a, what do they call it? Like a trailblazer or disrupting an industry. You got to be a little bit crazy. You got to go against the grain. So a little bit of that has to be there in an entrepreneur who's very successful. But that same little bit, if it's applied in a different scenario, can lead to a lot of pain. And that's why most very successful entrepreneurs get smacked over the head a couple of times until they really figure out like when and how to use that strength of faith and confidence and when not to use it.
So is it better to be cautiously aggressive or just be bold, move fast, break things, understand you're going to fall down, pick yourself up, rise up from the ashes, and just know that's part of the game?
It goes in seasons. So my answer to you is it depends on where you are. Sometimes I'm a firm believer that an entrepreneur is like a tornado. They're going to plow through the middle of the town. They're going to create a massive mess and a rubble. But guess what? There will be at the end of it, there will be a path straight through the middle that everyone can walk down. But there will be a mess that other people have to come and clean up. But that's not always the best way. I find that in the beginning, when you're first starting, when you have less to risk, when you have less of your neck out of the window, it's a little bit easier to do that. It's also more necessary sometimes just to get things started. And like right here in the second stage of the book, we talk about the C. That's the second acronym of the formula. It's for catapult, for creating momentum. When you have a car, Newton's laws of physics says literally an object in motion will remain in motion until opposed by an opposing force. So when you have a car that's at standstill, it's going to remain that way unless you have a big force that pushes it. So if you've ever had a car in neutral, it'll take 4 or 5 people to get that car to start moving. But once it's moving, once the tires are going, one person can keep it moving. So initially, sometimes you need that trailblazing, break things, go crazy, burst through the middle, and just make things happen guy. But at some point, as an entrepreneur, there's a transition, what I call from entrepreneur to CEO. And a lot of people don't even know this exists. People just think entrepreneur means CEO. I'm actually currently in the place of evaluating myself. I think I enjoy being a CEO, but I'm not sure if I enjoy being a president, right? And so as you kind of grow and different challenges and people get involved, you kind of start to have to go cautiously aggressive. That means you still have to keep the aggression, keep the foot on the gas pedal, but start to evaluate things, look at the data, and be a little bit more conservative with your decisions. So I'm at the place now in my life where I know that if I have to make an investment, right? Like I'm investing in the market, so I could take all this risk, but know that I'll get like a 20% return, for this like additional massive amount of risk. Or if someone says, hey, very minimal risk, you'll get 10% return. I'm more likely at this point to go to the 10%, only because in the grand scheme of things, back to back 10% wins will probably put me farther ahead. So that's a calculated, cautious aggression. But I'm not going to go for the 2% because it's super safe. Like I'm not going to go for that. So that's kind of where I live. But even this year, there was a period where the company we were getting a little stagnant, and it needed a little bit of me to return back to the guy who was around breaking things and moving things. And we needed it, and we moved, and it put us at another plateau. So kind of come in and out.
Well, kind of like Steve Jobs, huh?
Yes, very much so. Very much
so. So you rebuilt it. Did you grow the second time leaner? Did you do more with contractors or overseas VAs, or still grow with employees?
We grew much leaner, much leaner. We have today, if you look at our company, we do a little north of, let's go back to when I did it. We had 10 million. We had just hit like $10 million in revenue at our peak, and we had 96 team members. Now, granted, half of that team lived in India. So we had a big team in India. So they cost a lot less, but there's still a lot of expenses of just having this operation. So 96 bodies and souls in the business. Today, we're across over 20 million a year, and we have probably about 70 people in the business, but 15 of them are pure sales. Meaning they're sales. They're out. They earn their own wage. They're not a cost center to the company. So if you remove them, we're sitting at about 60-person team, 60. We're sitting at 60 people running a business that is twice the size of what we were running before. We're super, super leaner. We know how to put the right people in the right seats, and we absolutely deploy the international workforce through contract work. By far. I love it. I love having a business that's running 24 hours a day. So even when I'm sleeping, there are people in other parts of the world that are working and continuing to build my business.
Right. So obviously technologies began to change, so you're rebuilding by 2010, right?
Mm-hmm.
But you're teaching the same things, right? Online marketing, internet marketing.
Yeah. Well, at that time, actually, I wanted to leave the online marketing space for a while. I went into more the personal development space. That was a big dream of mine. Actually, the second domain name I ever bought in my life was iwillfight.com. That was like, we're talking about like sitting in college. I really liked the idea of having a blog and just like kind of putting motivational stuff on it. So I went back to that core. I said, okay, let's go into the personal development space. So I went into a brand new in the industry, brand new space, didn't know anyone, didn't have any contacts, but I applied the very raw system I'd learned the first time I built into the internet marketing space. Did really well in that. That was kind of how I leapfrogged. That's how I paid my debt back. And then all of a sudden, all these students that start coming in, they were asking for courses on entrepreneurship. They wanted physical workshops. And so now I triggered into like, sell French fries because everyone who buys a hamburger wants a side. I started listening to what they wanted, and I went right back. They wanted to have entrepreneurship products. They wanted to have products that taught them like how to build an email list or all of these crazy things. I still remember till this day, I was actually in bed right before going to sleep one night, and I am reading some of the messages we get in our support system. And I remember that night thinking, man, a lot of people are asking me because they knew that I had products like that in the past, that I had retired. And so that was the night I actually sat down and articulated one of my most famous programs I've ever created called Inbox Blueprint, which I was like, all right, this is how I'm going to teach people how to do email marketing because the students are asking, I'll release a test program on it. My first time I released it was like $197 just because like my email list was asking. And to date, and so it's been through, we're on version 3.0 now. We built entire software suites that go with it. It's crazy. It's like $1,500 now too. Sorry, $1,000. It's down to $1,000 now. But we've done over $30 million with that. So it's almost like you think from like a moment I'm sitting in bed and just brainstorming and listening to the audience and seeing what they want to just a few years later, over $30 million transacted thanks to that product. So yeah, we came back to the entrepreneurship training space. Now we've built an entire virtual platform, with as of the moment of recording this, we have 142,000 members in there that are learning entrepreneurship. We have courses on podcasting, copywriting, Facebook ads. We're coming up with an Amazon selling course, e-com course, email marketing. We have how to hire, how to outsource, like all kinds of great courses for entrepreneurs. So we've evolved from there, but we continue to just evolve with what our students ask for. We let them drive the future.
So people might ask, all this stuff is available for free online.
Yeah.
Right? How to podcast, whatever. But you're selling this information. So for our listeners that think, oh, I can't sell that because it can be found on the internet, what do you tell them?
All right. Tell them all kinds of things. So let's go back to your hamburger example. You can make a hamburger for far less. You can make a far better hamburger than McDonald's. Most people are capable of making a better, healthier, tastier hamburger than McDonald's, probably for less than you pay there. Why do you go to McDonald's? Right? Weight loss. I love this one. Let's face it. You want to lose some weight? It's very simple. Eat less, move more. I mean, I don't care what diet program you look at. It's all, in the end, it's about eat less, work more. Like work out more, move more. Yet, it is one of the largest industries in the world. So we buy things because we want the ease of having it in one place and the system and the simplicity of having it. Most people don't have the patience or the time right now to go put it all together. Yes, all the components individually are scattered everywhere. Why would you buy a recipe book when all the ingredients are at the grocery store? Just go figure it out. Well, you buy a recipe book because you know they're there, but you want someone to just give you the easy way to like put it all together and make it happen, and then out comes the dish. Or if heck, you don't even want to go through the time of building the dish, you walk into a restaurant and just have someone else, and you pay them 3 times the money, but have them make it for you. So selling something that already exists. I mean, Coke had already existed, and Pepsi came out and did pretty well. You know, McDonald's already existed, Burger King came out and did pretty well. So it's not a matter of whether something exists or not. It's a matter of what you're selling, the demand for that topic, and how well you package it and what you do behind it, and how you teach it. Because there's a lot of people in our industry that won't buy from me because my way and my methodologies of teaching don't speak to them. And that's okay. Hence, there are multiple other people that are available for them to learn from. So yeah, I mean, the whole notion of, hey, it's available for free, why would I pay for it? Could be applied to pretty much anything that we pay for in our lives. And there's always a reason. I mean, you don't have to pay for clothes. You can make your own clothes if you really want, but you pay for the ease of it to have someone else do it.
So are you teaching people how to launch their own training programs, or are you teaching people how to be better at digital marketing regardless of their business?
Sure. It's a little bit of both. So we teach you how to launch your own business if that's what you desire to do. But we teach you how to launch multiple kinds of businesses. We have a program that teaches you how to launch a coaching consulting business. We have a program for e-com. We have a program coming out for Amazon businesses. We have an affiliate marketing business. We have digital publishing, how to do your own courses. We have a program coming out on how to monetize blogging. But then we go to the next level, and that's like, okay, well, I've got my e-com store. How do I do Facebook ads? How do I convert better? How do I build funnels? How do I do YouTube ads? How do I draw more attention to my particular website, my business? How do I do SEO? So we also we do a lot of digital marketing training, but it's always with the focus of getting more sales or creating more revenue or launching a new business. So we are in both spaces because both of the spaces are pretty interconnected with one another.
Yeah. How do you find the experts? I mean, do you employ these experts? Do you bring in like a guest expert on a certain topic if y'all don't have it natively in the organization?
Exactly.
Because those are a lot of topics.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm certainly not an expert in even 10% of them. So either we have the expertise in-house. So for example, we were building a course on how to do outsourcing, like how to outsource your business. And our director of content had spent 6 years being a outsource specialist before I found him. That's how he had built an agency. That's how I found him, as I outsourced some work to him. So he really knew the industry from inside out. Super qualified. He did that course himself. For e-commerce, I don't know anything about e-commerce. I've never sold e-commerce products. I've never done drop shipping from China. But one of my very good friends has done like 50 million in it. So I asked him, hey, do you want to teach this? He said, sure. So we published this program. Amazon, I don't know diddly squat about it, but one of my friends has done over $10 million in Amazon sales and is continuing to crush it every single day. So he flew into our Learn Center facility here. We have a 26,000 square foot facility for entrepreneurs with a beautiful video studio. He flew in for like about a week and a half and filmed the whole thing. So it all depends on the topic. Some of them we have in-house. Some of them we bring in an expert and just pay them one time. We just say, hey, we're going to pay you for your time. Here's $5,000. Please film this and thank you very much. And some experts who we're going to do something really big with, we'll actually do profit share with them. So we pay them like a royalty, just like a publishing company would if you published a book with them.
Well, I'm an expert at sipping whiskey and yelling at the TV when college football is on. Can we make that program?
I'm sure we can. Absolutely. Hey, I'd probably be the first one to take it, except replace college football with NFL, and I'm in.
I'm an expert on making babies. How about that? My wife is an expert at raising them. I just make them. That's probably a different
niche, I would say, but there's something there.
So your program is Learn, right? LURN?
LURN. If someone goes to learn.com, LURN.com. So what I'll do for everyone, depending on when this comes out, okay, we built this amazing platform, and it went into alpha launch in April. We have 142,000 people in there now, and it's still not available to the public. It's not open. So you have to come in through one of our funnels, or you have to get invited into the platform. So if someone wants to go register a free account, there's tons of cool free courses, no credit card, nothing. You can go to LURN.com/register. All lowercase, LURN.com/register. And you're going to see an ugly, ugly page with no words on there. Just fill in your information. You'll get an account, and then you can get in and take all the courses. But we're not going to go beta until probably Jan, maybe February of next year. We're waiting for a brand new user interface, tons of new features. But this is truly a custom-coded LMS and community. So it's a custom-coded learning management system and community for entrepreneurs. Everything in there is only for entrepreneurs. And that's what Learn is. I mean, we don't have a mission statement or a vision statement. We have a purpose to build the transformational home for entrepreneurs, period.
Dude, that page is ugly.
Super ugly.
Whatever. It's an opt-in. It works.
It works. It'll be pretty by February, but until then, it's working, man. I don't give a crap.
I know. Keep it simple. Too many people spend too much time making it pretty, and they don't collect the names.
Yeah,
I love your focus on sales. I mean, because hey, nothing happens until a sale is made.
Yep.
Right. So that's good stuff. So I want to write that down though. You said we don't have a mission statement. We have a purpose, huh?
Yep.
Nice.
Purpose.
Yeah, because too many people, again, they get too caught up in this esoteric crap that nobody in the company can repeat unless they got the card in front of them or it's printed on the wall and they can read it. So just get after it.
Nice and simple, right? Just and literally it describes the company and what we do here. Build the transformational home for entrepreneurs. We have a 26,000 square foot physical home. We're going to be building more of these all over the country. Got lecture halls, classrooms. Right over there, I got a nap room. I got an arcade. I got a ping pong table. I got co-work space. We have video studio, audio studios. We have everything you could want right here for an entrepreneur. But then what about all the people that can't make it here to Maryland, Washington, D.C. area to be in the facility? Well, great. We have a virtual home. We built our platform where we have all the training and education there. So it's short, sweet, meaningful, and we're actually living it every single day. So it's hard to forget it.
Yeah. Very cool. Well, we will link to that. I'm linking to your Facebook page, your website, learn.com/register, link to your book as well. So final question, man, you ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Are you really ready?
I'm super ready.
All right. So our listeners are probably jogging, commuting, maybe sitting on an airplane. They maybe can't do something right this second, but as soon as they can, what is the first thing they should do as a result of listening to this? I don't want them to just listen and go, wow, that was neat. I want them to do something as a result of listening to this. What should it be?
I want them to very quickly take a minute to visualize your actual customer. I want you to build a picture of this person in your mind. I just did an exercise with my team because too many times we get so busy trying to sell, trying to run the business and trying to grow. I know this sounds cliche, but I mean it. We forget who the heck we're actually serving. I did this last week, very humbling exercise. I called one of our students who's a recent success. They just started succeeding like 6-7 months ago. And I wanted to write better ads. I was like, let me write something. Let me call them real quick. So I called them and I said, hey, up until like 7 months ago, you were super struggling. You'd been struggling for like 2-3 years to make it. Can you tell me what you were thinking about 7 months ago, like the month before you succeeded? Just walk me through your mind, walk me through your brain. And they didn't understand it, but like within about a minute, we got it. And they started telling me, and here was something crazy. They told me they said I was jealous, like them. I'm like, jealous? What are you talking about? So I was getting really frustrated because I was really upset that everyone around me seemed to be able to do it, but I was failing. And they're like, and you keep sending out all these testimonial stories and you keep sharing all this success people were having. And it was making me think something's wrong with me. I was like, holy, what? Like, I've never thought testimonials could ever be anything but great. They inspire. And he's like, well, yeah, but at a certain point, they started making me feel like crap. So I'm like, I've never addressed this at all in any of my marketing, in any of my conversations, in any of my courses, in any of my content. It was a mind-blown moment and a very humbling moment. So let me ask you to just really think about your customer, understand them, get into their mind. Are they married? How old are they? Are they male, female? What kind of problems are they having? Do they have a nice boss, a mean boss? Are they sick of their lives? Are they poor? Are they rich? Are they struggling? Do they have a car, no car? Where do they live? And what kind of problems are they facing? Because when you can live in that every day, what's really cool is you just start to sell better. I'm telling you, you start to actually sell better because of the pure understanding of the person and the passion that comes behind it. And then all of a sudden you have more gas behind you to just like scale more, to work harder, because again, you're connected to the person. It's not about the money and about the concepts. It's about the person behind it. it's a mouthful. It's a little bit like one of those cliche things to do, but I'm telling anyone who actually does it, you're going to have major breakthroughs.
Very nice. I think they'll have a major breakthrough from this interview, man. So thanks for carving out some time. Now walk on over to DC. I'm going to send you a list of names of like senators and congressmen. I want you to just jerk a knot in their head, okay?
Yeah, go for it.
Put them in time out. Say this is from West.
I'm meaning to do it anyways.
Say this is from West. Straighten up.
You got it.
Very nice. All right, man. So Anik, so Anik.
Yep.
Anik Singal, thanks for coming on Sales Podcast, man. It's been awesome.
Thanks, man. Thanks for having me, and thanks for everyone who listened in. Talk to you guys later.
So he won $100 in the Super Bowl bet, built up a multi-million-dollar company, went almost $2 million in debt, built it back up, better, more efficient, more profitable, leaner, meaner. So told you it was a good story. All right. I like the way he talks about having a purpose, not just a mission statement, visualizing your actual customer. I talk about building your persona. In my talks and trainings, I mentioned Carly Simon, You're So Vain, right? Why is that song still popular 40 plus years later? Because she wrote it to one person and it had meaning. And we've all had somebody in our lives do things like that to us, so it resonates. So you always write to one person. You have one person in mind as you create the ad, the email sequences, whatever advertisement you're doing. It'll connect, right? But you deliver a powerful message in a powerful way. And you do that by having one person in mind. So, do I have a single point of failure? Are you diversified? Diversified in your marketing, your lead generation. So many notes. And I didn't even put all the notes into here. So listen again. I talk about it. I listen to all my podcasts as long as they're in America. I found if I listen to like the Brits or the Aussies, I have to do about 1.5 speed. But if you're not from New York City or Australia, I'll listen at double speed. Everyone else about 1.5. But at least you can get through quicker and listen to it again. So go back, listen, take notes, click on the websites, check out what he's doing. If it resonates, jump in. Okay, that's why I bring these shows to you. He's a good dude, totally accessible. If you're in the DC area, go check him out. Tell him I sent you. Okay. If you're not in the DC area, or even if you are and you want some real-time, all the time relevant help to grow your sales, we do live weekly calls with me, private group, answer any question at just about any time. Come hang out with us. MakeEverySale.com. You will sell better. Thanks for listening. Go please subscribe. Please leave a 5-star review. Now go sell something.